Welcome to the Brand Theory Podcast, the podcast for helping you uncover your passion, realize your purpose, and take the aligned action. Together, we're going to prove the theory that when we live our lives on brand, the possibilities become limitless. I'm your host, Danielle Marquesi, branding expert and business coach. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Brand Theory Podcast. When I am recording this, it is mid-September, whenever you're listening to this. Maybe it's the day it comes out, maybe it's 3 months from now, but we are currently in mid-September, and I don't know about you, but there is definitely a fresh vibe feel that always seems to come with September. I don't know if it's with the season change or that whole regular back to school feel that we're so used to since we spent so many years in that. But there is definitely an energy about September, and it is the perfect time to take a look at our goals, to take a look at our progress, to see where things need to be changed or adjusted to meet these goals. But it's also the perfect time to take a look at our schedule. Okay, now when you're in business for yourself or you work from home or anything, we always kind of have a routine or a schedule that we stick to. We're so used to this, especially in the 9-to-5 world, especially when we're growing up and going to school and then college if we choose to do that, or for working, we have a schedule that we stick to. We wake up, we grab our coffee, we hit the road. If we're going to work or if we're working from home, whatever the case is, everyone has that kind of schedule that they stick to. Well, when you're in business for yourself and all of a sudden you have all this freedom, it is, first of all, so rewarding and fresh energy to step away from a schedule. But then you get into this point where you're like, oh, I think I actually need a schedule. I think I actually need to have some kind of routine in place to make sure I'm staying on target to my goals and my bigger goals and my bigger visions. This was something that kind of took me by surprise when I first entered the full work from home mode. I kind of thought that I could just fly by the seat of my pants, as the saying goes, and just kind of figure it out day to day. But I quickly found I was waking up feeling scattered. I was waking up not really knowing what my full intention was for the day. I was missing my own deadlines for the goals that I wanted to set, or programs I wanted to release, or just projects I wanted to complete. I just kept pushing them off and off and off because I didn't have a wake up time. I didn't have, a routine where I was getting up, getting into work, and all of that good stuff. Now, I fully believe in having freedom flow and flexibility in our schedules, but here's the thing, when we have the ability to create the schedule for ourselves, it's actually way more exciting than we expect it to be. So my biggest suggestion as we head into September, as we are feeling this energy and this new vibe and this fresh vibe, I suggest just taking a look at your current schedule. Are you waking up, if you're still in your 9-to-5 and you're working from home or whatever the case is, are you waking up at the possible last second, rushing to work, just feeling really kind of scattered about it? If you are working in your own business and you're working from home 24/7, are you just jumping right into work? And then at some point in the day, do you feel kind of just off or icky, or just like you didn't really take that time to yourself in the morning? For me, I've probably said this on the past podcast, but having a morning coffee and an actual morning routine was super, super important to me. I felt like I was always rushing to work, and I never got to enjoy that sip of coffee. Coffee is a ritual, and coffee is its own vibe. Trust me. For all my coffee lovers out there, you totally get what I'm saying. Or latte lovers, that's me. Or as we go into the fall season, I am personally not a pumpkin spice person. I am definitely more of a peppermint mocha as that time comes around. I may or may not have been guilty of ordering one last week, but that's a story for a different day. But whatever your drink of choice is, whether it's tea or just a glass of water in the morning to get your day going, I really highly suggest just taking that 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I personally take 30 minutes to just kind of calmly get into your morning. There are morning practices that I further put into place, such as reading and meditating and listening to a podcast, depending on how long it is, before I do jump into my work. But that is kind of how my morning goes. I just don't like to wake up right away and get into work. There are definitely times where I have done that, and I can say from experience, it just doesn't feel good. It feels like I'm rushing in my day. It feels like I'm just, I have this weird feeling in my chest where my heart is beating a little faster, and I want to almost rush to the work. And I know that's not how I want to do client work or just do creative work, I want to make sure I'm at ease when I'm doing this, excited, but not kind of anxious when I'm doing it. So that's something that I put into place to handle that morning practice. Going further in the day, I actually have my days split up, my week split up into working on the business days and working in the business days. So what I mean by that is 2 days a week, I am working on my business. So that is creative work, that's social media marketing, that is work to expand the business. Maybe that's creating a new course, maybe that's planning a new launch, maybe that's planning a new program, planning a new freebie, creating a new freebie, planning a new masterclass or free class, some kind of free event, networking, all of that kind of stuff is done 2 days a week. The other 2 days I have reserved for working in the business. So that's any client tasks that I need to get done, any actual, if I have my marketing plan in place, any actual posts I need to put out, I will go in and plan that content on that day. So the other day is more for writing this content out, and this day is for more implementing it. This is mainly focused on client work that I do, but sometimes there is some work that I do for my own business on these days as well. And the last day I use as a freedom day. So on Fridays, I have a money appointment set for myself. So I just track all the incoming and outgoing expenses for the week, just check my target for my financial goals for the month, see where I am with that, see where I need to move things around or see what I need to accomplish in order to meet that goal by the end of the month. So that's Monday and Wednesday I reserved for in the business, and Tuesday and Thursday is on the business. Now these days kind of shift and flow depending on client schedules and different things that I have going on, but mainly that is how my schedule goes. Now, I am just not the type of person who can sit down and just work for straight 8 hours in a row. I like to split this up into just kind of time blocks and hour blocks. So I will have a list I write out. Yes, I do still handwrite in a paper planner as well as a Google Calendar to keep my appointments and other tasks organized, but I still like to write out to-do lists for each day or the week and just kind of shift things around in those particular in and on the business days. So I do this kind of on Sundays or on Fridays, depending on my schedule. And just to make sure I've got the week organized ahead, and I just look at my task and I kind of just tackle one thing at a time. And I know this is kind of obvious, right? This is kind of like, oh, of course she does that. Or if that's obvious, like, why can't I do that? Or I can do that without you telling me. But sometimes we just need to hear it from somebody who's kind of been through the process before of sticking to a schedule, figuring out a schedule that works for them, and just kind of use that to create a schedule that works for us. That's the beautiful thing about having your own business, or even still in your 9 to 5 and having the power of time, is you can create a schedule that works for you. So if you know you get your best work done in the morning, you're going to want to schedule your creative work or your on the business work or in the business work those heavier hours for the morning time. And then maybe you take a longer break in the afternoon and you wrap up in the early evening. It gets to be whatever works for you. So for me, it works to work in kind of 2-hour time blocks, take a 15-minute break. Sometimes I'm guilty of watching 15 minutes of a show in between these 2-hour breaks or these 2-hour blocks and just kind of turn off my brain for a second, or I'll go and check out a new podcast, or I'll just go for a quick walk. I'll just walk around, or I'll call a friend or something to just break up those blocks. I felt so chained to my desk and to those hours inside work. So I know that to me, having those breaks is a constant reminder of, okay, this is my freedom, this is my flow, and I get to do this because this is the life I've created for myself. So definitely choose to take advantage of that. But that some people just like to bang out all their work in 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. Again, you get to choose what works for you. I do recommend time blocking, and I do recommend inserting this into some kind of Google Calendar. It's super fun to just correlate colors in terms of in the business, on the business, when you're taking appointments, when you're not taking appointments, when you are going out for a walk, when you're going to the gym, when you're going to call your friend, anything. I find it's just fun. Number one, fun to create a schedule that works for us. And number two, it just is helpful to keeping us organized. You get those nice notifications sent to your Apple iPhone or whatever phone you're using. I know some people who wake up at 5 a.m. and are done with their work by 1 p.m. and they use the afternoon for more creative work. Literally, it can be anything you want it to be, which is also in itself can be overwhelming because there is so much freedom once we are in our own business. There's so much time all of a sudden to do our own thing. We can take longer to do our workouts in the morning, or we can schedule that for mid-afternoon. We can go to the grocery store when there's nobody there. We get to do everything that we want. But it is important to have that kind of schedule or routine to keep us on task. One additional hack for you, if you currently have a schedule set up, or at some point you feel in your schedule or your routine that it just feels boring, or you're not excited to wake up and do your routine, or you're just not excited to do any work, you just feel like you're constantly maybe making excuses not to do your work, you're switching your days around, or you're just going out for that walk and going out a little bit longer because you're just not excited to get back to the work you have, maybe think about switching up your schedule. So maybe switch your afternoons with your mornings, or switch the days you work in and on the business if that's not feeling exciting anymore. Again, you have the freedom and the power to create the schedule that works for you. So if at some point it isn't working, you can switch it up. So if you have any questions about creating a routine that works for you, you want to run your routine by me, you know where to find me. Show me your routines, stick to your schedules, and it helps us complete our goals. It helps us reach our goals way sooner than faster. And it can be fun. It can be fun to stick to a schedule, guys. I promise. This is another episode of the Brand Theory Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and let me know what you think, and let me know suggestions or things you want to learn, or hacks, other productivity hacks you want to learn more about. I'll catch you in the next episode.